Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Random Chatter. This is going to be our lightning round news show for the week, and we had a big episode of Force Chatter earlier today with a guest, Savannah from the Dorky Diva. It was a great episode, but I think I got so focused on that I didn't quite maybe put the show notes together tonight the way I probably should have. So we're going to be kind of winging it. We do have a list of news items, but it's going to be a little bit scattershot, and things are going to be a little bit all over the place. Now, was kind of a big weekend for some things. That we had a really good reviews show. There were some documentaries that came out this weekend at home for streaming. There were a couple of new series that came out. Old is out in theaters. Snake Eyes, which I'm hearing mostly good things about, is out in theaters. And Comic-Con at home was this weekend. The San Diego Comic-Con that none of us are attending.
Was it?
COVID. Yeah. You guys were keeping up with it over the weekend, right? I mean, they were releasing panels on YouTube throughout the weekend since like Thursday, I think. Right?
No. Yeah.
No? Lou, how many did you catch?
0.
Tim, how many did you catch?
Last year I watched, probably 7 or 8 of them. They were really
Same
good.
Here.
This year, though?
What about this year?
The Comic-Con at home, Tim. Not on.
Did you watch any?
I'm sorry. Is there a question?
Yes.
Yeah.
How many of them did you watch?
Did you see that new trailer for the Jar Jar movie?
Because it was in the panel.
Lou, if there was a Jar Jar movie coming up, much less a trailer for that, I would have been all over it.
You would have thought you would have all, but if you didn't watch the Comic-Con, you would
see
have
it.
known it was released. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Just saying.
Misa thinks it needs some work.
I should probably call Savannah and tell her about it too, because she probably didn't see it.
No, she probably kept up with the Comic-Con. Yeah. So I got to say, this year, there just wasn't really a lot I was interested in. I started watching the thing on the High Republic, and then I realized, okay, I'm not caught up. I didn't read the last couple of books that just came out most recently. And some things are in reference to that. Maybe I shouldn't watch it. And then it felt very much like a fluff piece. And I understand that all of these convention panels always are, but there's something different about when they're being done remotely and at home. And you can almost tell, like, they have a list of questions for some of I swear this is happening because I saw numerous panels. They've got a question list that they give to the participants, and they have them ask the questions. So the G.I. Joe Snake Eyes panel, I watched some of that too. The 3 that I caught like maybe 10, maybe 15 minutes out of the Blade Runner one, but 10 to 15 minutes tops out of each of them. The Snake Eyes one, you'd get some questions from like one of the actresses or the actors or Larry Hama, and it was good stuff. But then it would cut back to the hostess, and you could tell that the way she's interacting is all scripted. So she's asking a question, and then they answer the question, and she's like, wow, that's really fascinating. That's great stuff. And what about this? Wow, you must be so proud to be working on a project like that. Okay, I know everybody's also excited to hear from person B. You feel like it was all thrown together in post-production editing later. Like some of them were unquestionably live panels, but then some of them, you could tell they were like pieced together, and it just felt fake and ugh. So
That's too bad.
I had a hard time watching any of them. I will say that the Blade Runner, I'm a big Blade Runner fan, big time. And they're doing a Blade Runner anime series.
Oh, cool.
And it, again, I didn't sit through the whole panel, but it was the one that held my interest better than any of the others. And I did sit through enough of it to feel like I'm interested in this project. It's going to focus from the point of view of the replicant. And
Interesting.
yeah, it is. I saw a trailer for it, and I'm going to say I'm sold on this. I think it looks really good. And I'm hit and miss with anime. Like some of it I'm okay with, some of it I'm like, it's just not my thing. This is going to be good. I've got a lot of hope for that. So, yeah, that was Comic Con at home. Yay. Two thumbs up, I guess.
I think last year the anticipation for it was good because everybody was like, "Oh, we can do this thing at home now." And I think now a year later, everybody's like, "I don't want to do this thing at home anymore." So
yeah,
that's kind of why it was off my radar for a while. It was like, yeah, okay.
yeah. Well, and I think didn't DC and Marvel both pull out of it? And Disney pulled out everything except the High Republic panel, which actually wasn't even Disney. It was Random House. Penguin Random House Publishing, I think. There was a panel.
And there was Marvel comic stuff there, but not Marvel Studios.
Right, not Marvel Studios. There was a panel of judges, like actual courtroom judges, talking about the Mandalorian and the various different legal aspects of it. I thought maybe, I don't know if Tom picked it up or not, but
that may have been done. I wouldn't be surprised by the same group that Tom works with, called Legal Geeks.
I didn't see a reference to their name, and I looked for it, but I didn't see a reference to their name. And this was specifically judges, not lawyers this time around too. And then I looked at the itinerary and I'm like, yeah, do I care what judges have to say about the fish eggs issue? I have other things I could be watching. So I kind of gave up on it. But we've got some other things in the news. Have you guys seen any trailers of note recently? Because there have been some new trailers dropping.
The only one I saw recently was the one for Dune. Last week they dropped that one. That's the HBO Max movie, I guess, right? It's where it's being shown.
Yes.
It's
yeah, the one that they regret now agreeing to release on HBO Max. Though when all the theaters close down again in another month or two and we're back in lockdown.
Yeah.
Hey, you never know.
You never know.
But on the plus side, the trailer looked really good. I mean, I was a pretty big fan of the Dune from the 80s. Yeah. Even though it wasn't like kind of great for the actual story itself. It kind of diverged a little bit from the story. But I like that adaptation of it. This one looks to be much more closer to the books, and the visuals just look amazing.
Yeah, they really did. I was not sold on this up until this trailer. Like I was, I'll watch it. I like, I'm not sure how to pronounce his name, but Denis Villeneuve. It's a French name. He's the one that did Blade Runner 2049, which I also liked and thought was an underappreciated film. So I was going to watch it anyway, but I think this trailer did a better job of representing what the movie is actually going to be. And it made it interesting for me. So, did you catch it, Tim?
I did not.
I would recommend
one of those things. Last week was crazy for me, and it was one of those things that, hey, yeah, I saw the post for it, and I just never got to watching it.
Well, it's only been out a few days, I think. I don't even think it's been that long.
It was late last week.
Yeah, it was pretty late. So you're not too far behind.
Wednesday, Thursday.
Yeah, I think maybe Thursday.
I just hope the movie is long enough to do it justice. I mean,
yeah, because the sci-fi thing was a mini series, right?
Well, there was a sci-fi. Yeah, it was a mini series back. What 2000
something,
3 or 4 maybe. Yeah. That was a mini series, and before that, it was the the movie.
Yeah,
from
the one
back
with Sting in it.
Sting, yeah. Who did that movie? Who was the drawing blank?
I forget. It's like David Lynch or somebody. I don't know.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm hoping this is going to be good. I hope it's long enough to give adequate time for all the parts of the story.
You read the books?
Not all the books, but I read some of them.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think I'll ever read them. Just too long, not my style of sci-fi. And I think I don't know. The movie and then the sci-fi series, while it was good, made me think the books would probably be boring.
Yeah, I want to go back and watch the sci-fi series again. I got to find a place to watch that because I remember that being a good series, but I had it in the background when I was doing some other stuff. But I want to watch that again. And I did reread Dune the last couple of years, and the book Dune, you should read. I think it's a well worth read. I wouldn't go into all the other books to go along with it, but that story itself is pretty epic.
Okay. Have you guys watched The Witcher?
Oh yeah.
Okay, and
I've seen one episode.
You've seen one episode.
Very much enjoyed it.
Yeah, sorry, it's on my radar. I'm watching.
It's pretty far off on your radar if you've only seen one episode, Lou.
I started it.
All right. Hold on. Sorry, pulling up a list of some stuff. So the second season apparently has a premiere date set for December of this year, and another trailer that came out was for the animated series spinoff. I did not watch it, but I'm guessing if you're only one episode in the actual live action series, you probably haven't watched it either. So
No.
Guess I won't ask you about it. So much for that. Let's see here. I feel like
I haven't watched it yet, but there was a trailer released for a new Dexter series. So Dexter was 10 years ago, I guess it was, on Showtime. Yep. Good series. It ends with him kind of going off the grid and doing his thing, and the post that was posted from Showtime on Twitter just says he couldn't hide forever, and says Dexter New Blood premieres November 7th. So yeah, hopefully that's good. I mean, the first series was really good.
Okay. Yeah, I never ended up watching that. I watched.
Yeah, I didn't watch it when it was new. I watched it after the fact, but it was good. The premise is he's a serial killer that is also a forensic scientist, right? Trying to catch serial killers.
Yeah.
But yeah, good series.
I think I didn't watch it because it was hard to root for a main character who is also a serial killer. And I think I was just in that mindset at the time where I think I'll come back to it someday.
Okay.
So, it was kind of like watching House. Like at the time I worked in a hospital and I knew enough doctors who were jerks that did I really want to spend my free time trying to be entertained by a show about a doctor who's a jerk? Yeah, he's a great doctor. He's good at what he does, but he's a jerk. And I'm like, I can go to work and get that. Why am I going to? No, I'll do that later too.
I was a big fan of House.
Everybody loved House. Yeah. And I respect the fact that it's a good show. I'm not saying anything bad about it. So I did manage to pull up one. I knew there was a trailer for something that I wasn't expecting, and it impressed me, and I wanted to bring it up, and that was Twist with Michael Caine and Lena Headey. And it is about a graffiti artist in London who is lured into a street gang and is brought into an art theft that then goes wrong. And the main character's name is Oliver Twist.
I see where this is going. Yep. Mm-hmm.
And so I clicked on the trailer not knowing it was like inspired by Charles Dickens, and then as I'm watching it and I saw that part, I'm like, oh, forget it. And I went to stop the trailer because it's like totally not my thing. It's good. Like as the trailer went on, I'm like, oh, this actually doesn't look bad at all.
Okay.
Yeah. So check the trailer out and see what you think of it.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I'm going to lightning round through some different things here. By the way, the Blade Runner series, it's called Blade Runner Black Lotus. Is the name of the series. Gossip Girl launched on HBO Max, knocking what was the Flight Attendant out of the top spot for an initial launch. Yep. Manifest. So Manifest has been the talk of the town recently. So this went to Netflix, and it was the #1 show on Netflix the week it hit Netflix. And is it ABC? I think it's ABC that it normally airs on.
Yeah, I think
no,
it
it's
was,
Is it
NBC.
NBC? Oh, that figures.
Yeah, it's
NBC?
NBC.
Okay. So I don't know why that should surprise me. The week it hit Netflix and it was the number one show on Netflix, it came out that it was getting canceled. And then after that, there was rumors that there were talks about Netflix picking it up. And apparently those talks kind of fizzled. And then the following week, it was still in Netflix's top 10. And then after that was still on Netflix's top 10. The end of the story here, it didn't break the record, but it tied for the longest running show to be in Netflix's top 10.
Really?
Netflix is now back in discussions for maybe picking it up.
Huh.
Yeah, go figure. So, and there are a lot of fans who have been fighting really, really hard for this, apparently, which means it must be a good show.
Have you guys watched it?
I started it because I'm like, oh, wow, I've heard of this and it's number one on Netflix. And yeah, I'm going to sit down and like binge a few of these. I got like 3 or 4 episodes into it. You know, it's being canceled, right? So I stopped.
Yeah, so I started it when it was new on NBC 2 years ago, whenever it came out, and it's good. The problem with it is it's one of those things where they're going somewhere with a story, and if they don't get to the end and cancel it, it's like you feel like you wasted all this time watching it because there's nothing enjoyable about each episode by itself.
Right.
I don't mean to say it that way because it's a good show and it's fun to watch, but the payoff is the end, right? The payoff is going to be what happens when they tell you what happened.
And apparently where it ends currently is on a major cliffhanger.
Yeah, well, like most of these shows are. And if they don't get to the end, it's like, okay, it's like, NBC's got a track record of this, right?
Oh, yeah.
This isn't the first time. I mean,
they're not Fox, but they're close.
And yeah, a bunch of stuff they put out that's like,
yeah.
You get me hooked. You get me hooked on something that's kind of clever in like, okay, where are they going with this? And then never tell me the end. It's like, yeah.
I don't know. I hope it gets picked up.
I have stopped watching it. I've got it on my DVR. I haven't gone back to it, but if they pick it up, maybe I'll go back to it.
So a series that ended, I think after 4 seasons, and it mostly had it had a good ending. I felt like it would have been nice if they'd resolved some more things, but they wrapped it up pretty tidy, was the 4400.
Oh yeah.
Did you guys check that out at all back when it was on?
I did, yeah.
No.
Okay. So
I don't even remember.
Various different people had been abducted over the years. 1993, 1971, 1937, etc. And there were exactly 4,400 people that were abducted, and they were all returned in a big ball of light by a lake one day, like all at once.
So it's kind of like a mini Infinity War.
Yes, but it was before Infinity War. So Infinity War is more like a massive 4,400. Except that's where the similarities end, because these people came back and were like mutated and had superpowers. Wait.
Just saying some.
No. Okay.
Maybe.
So
Never mind.
all kidding
Never
aside, it is nothing like any of the Marvel stuff, and it's not a superhero show at all. It's a really good show. I'm rewatching it right now, and I would say that it holds up. And so they're relaunching it, and they released some of the teasers this past week. I wouldn't go out of your way for them. They're so short and insignificant that they don't really show you very much, other than that production is well underway, which is a good thing. But I'm really excited about this series. I loved the first one. I don't know, Lou, did you like it as well?
Yeah, I remember enjoying it. I don't remember how it finished, to tell you the truth, but I do remember enjoying the series.
I can tell you off the air. I don't want to spoil it for anybody who.
Okay, yeah, I don't spoil it. Yeah. Now, so I just looked up while you're doing this. It says it's a reboot, not a.
It is not a sequel. Right. This is a reboot. This is a starting over from scratch, a retelling.
I mean, so
not my ideal.
Something like that.
But
yeah, And the issue I have with something like that is it wasn't that good that it deserves a reboot. It wasn't that bad that we need to redo it.
Fair.
It just was. So it's like, well, why would you?
I would argue that the concept was so much better than the execution that if they could execute it better, and I thought it was good enough. Again, it's one of my favorite shows from that time period. But there were opportunities to have taken it further and done things more epic with it, and they ran out of time. And I think for that reason, the premise was strong enough that I'm okay with the reboot of this. And that's not something I typically say. I have the same concerns you do, though.
Yeah.
You know, that's valid.
So when was this on? This was on...
Oh, gosh.
2004 to 2007 it ran. So I'm kind of thinking along the same lines with this one. I think it was, I don't know if it's the same time period or not. I would like to see them redo, just thinking of stuff in the same vein. Remember the series The Fifth Wave?
Yeah, I never watched it, though.
That I would have liked to seen be
wait.
version of that.
The Fifth Wave.
The Fifth. Is it that what I'm thinking, or something else?
I thought The Fifth Wave was a sci-fi young adult.
There's a movie called The Fifth Wave. What was the oh gosh, it was the one with the Nostradamus predictions of the end of the world, and and we'll call third wave
maybe. I don't know. There were lots of waves. The Fifth Wave was.
Have you seen the ocean?
Huh?
Have you seen the ocean?
That's the seventh wave, right?
Yeah. Yeah, the Fifth Wave was a movie with Chloe Moretz based on a novel series. The novels were good. The movie was not. So.
I'm trying to think of the.
All right. I'll let you keep looking that up. I'm going to whip through some of the other things here. So let's see here. iCarly was renewed for season 2. Yay. Amazon has ordered an adaptation of Neil Gaiman's Anansi Boys, which I have not read, but apparently, and I didn't know this until just the other day when Carrie told me, it is a sequel. We'll call it an indirect sequel to American Gods by Neil Gaiman. And it focuses on the two now grown sons of one of the characters from American Gods. And I guess they don't, it's not a sequel because it's not continuing that story. So it's more like it's its own novel in that universe following two sons of one of the other characters. I don't think that character, the father character, even appears in the book. I'm not sure. Anyhow, yeah. So Amazon's picked that up, and they're going to be running that to a series. Neil Gaiman just announced that very recently. Zack Snyder's working on Army of the Dead 2, and has signed a first look deal with Netflix. So Netflix gets first dibs on it if they want it.
Okay.
And they're still working on that spin-off series that's a prequel for the Vault Snatcher guy, the thief.
Oh, really? I didn't hear about that.
Yeah. Yeah, that news came out back when the movie was released. They're going to do a series based on that character and I guess like a team he has. It's going to be set before the movie.
I think there's some pretty valid world building to be done there. I enjoyed the movie. I like the premise that they established for it. It was, it had some nuances that were different from your kind of run-of-the-mill zombie thing, but still close enough that you weren't having to really get too cerebral about it, and it was fun.
Yeah.
So I think they could do some stuff with it. They're probably going to take it too far because, if A works, then B must work, and if B works, then C must work, and if C works, we can get more money from D.
Yes.
Well, and it's Zack Snyder, so he's from the Michael Bay school of things being over the top. He just also adds in a plot line. So, let's see here. Anna Torv, you remember her? Fringe?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
She is signed on for The Last of Us series for HBO, the one that's based on that post-apocalyptic game.
Video game, yeah.
Speaking of games, Dead Space announced or is announced for. Let me rephrase that. That's like the worst wording I think I've done on a podcast in years. The makers of Dead Space have announced that they are doing a remake, and people are very excited because Dead Space was one of the earliest successful science fiction horror based video games. And it's got a massive following, so that's kind of a big deal in the video game industry. Tim, you might have heard of this. Vincent D'Onofrio apparently is returning as Kingpin.
That is a rumor.
Okay.
I would love it if he is.
Me too.
It is, however, in terms of rumors, I mean, you have your Hollywood Reporter, Deadline, Vanity Fair kind of rumors, which are way, way up here. And fundamentally, if they're going to talk about it, it's practically verified by the studios. This is one of those rumors that is not anywhere even in that ballpark or the league or the country.
Well, I wouldn't go.
It's like the ones that you start.
No, hold on. I was with you in the ballpark thing. The sources that are reporting this have reported some pretty successful things before, and I would say that this report is at least legit enough to have been reported or to be getting discussed. I don't think it's one of these throwaway, completely nonsensical things. It's been coming from multiple previously vetted sources. But to be clear, the important takeaway is exactly what you said at the beginning. This is not coming from Vanity Fair, Hollywood Reporter, anything like that. At least not yet. So for those who don't know, the rumor is that he is going to appear in the Hawkeye series. More specifically, Charlie Cox was supposed to be, allegedly, to be clear, allegedly, Charlie Cox was supposed to have been reprising his role as Daredevil and was supposed to be shooting just a few very brief scenes for late in the season. Couldn't do it due to scheduling conflicts. They ended up bringing in D'Onofrio instead. And then apparently Charlie Cox was supposed to have been part of some sort of an appearance or convention related thing or something like that, and had to cancel to do some last minute emergency shooting for some project that was not announced or on anybody's radar. No pun intended, because Daredevil radar. Yeah. Which is now also making people think that maybe he will make an appearance, even if only briefly, and they'll insert him in. So.
And it would be really exciting if they do. And obviously there's a lot of opportunity to tie these things in. I mean, they've talked about Charlie Cox being in Spider-Man quite a bit. They've talked about him potentially being in She-Hulk. A lot of opportunities there. And for as much as I absolutely love Charlie Cox's take on Daredevil, Vincent D'Onofrio's take on Kingpin is mind-blowing. Absolutely mind-blowing. And if he were to come back, if he were to reprise that role in the MCU, I would be thrilled. Absolutely thrilled.
It was such a defining performance. It was, I mean, to say he stole the show would be an understatement. It was just mind-blowing.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's see what else we have here. Talked about that. Cursed is canceled at Netflix. There were some more Jungle Cruise trailers that came out, apparently. I think I saw one of them.
I'm looking forward to that movie. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
I'm going to be just fine with it. Probably. Don't Breathe 2 got a trailer. The first one was pretty good. guys see it?
I don't think I saw it.
No.
So if it's the movie I'm thinking of, this young girl who's been involved with a group of other thieves who would break into houses and do burglaries and stuff is trying to get out, and she's just trying to make enough so that she can take her younger sister out of an abusive environment and go run away somewhere and start over. And so she gets roped into this one last job in an otherwise abandoned neighborhood that's about to be torn down for, I don't know, highway, shopping mall, whatever reason. And there's this one guy still living in that house, and it's an old man who is blind. So they go to break in. They discover that he's also former special forces military vet, and he figures out that they're in there, and he locks them in there with him, and he doesn't give a crap. He's just going to go like kill them, and they're trying to figure out how to manage to get out and not get killed. And it's like legitimate. It's intense. It's a horror movie that's not a horror movie. It's more of a psychological thriller. It's something different that we haven't seen a billion times before. It was good. I was very impressed with it. I would recommend it. And I don't know what you would really want to do with the sequel, or whether there should even be one. I'd say probably not, but I don't know. We're getting one way or another. Paramount Plus has renewed Evil for a third season, which is good. I don't know if I know you watch it because you're the one that told me to watch it, Tim.
Yeah, we had watched the first season of it, or much of the first season. It was quite good, and then it was one of those things that for some reason, I think just because of other things that came on, we ended up dropping it. Okay. But it is one of those that, we do kind of need to go back and catch up on it, because it was really well done. I mean, the writing on it was fantastic. It had just enough of a supernatural twist to it that it wasn't like, I mean, it was still supernatural, but it wasn't totally outlandishly crazy.
Exactly.
And, so it was reasonably grounded in terms of supernatural stuff. I liked it, and great cast. It was really good.
Yeah. I agree. I'm partway through season 2. Season 2 is airing right now, and I'm almost caught up with it. I think I'm maybe one episode behind, and I think it's really good, and I'm glad they're renewing it. So,
yeah.
All right. The Tomorrow War, we talked about that on some recent episodes. It is getting a sequel for Amazon. Good Omens is getting a second season, also on Amazon. Let's see what else here. Lovecraft Country was canceled. Did we talk about that?
No,
I don't know that we did. And it's a really unfortunate thing. And I mean, was it canceled, or they chose not to renew it? Because I mean, there is a nuance there.
Yeah. So I will say, and that's fair, I will say that there were plans for season 2. In fact, the showrunners said that it would have, through the whole like portally, twisty, alternate dimensiony, whatever stuff that goes on, it was going to be a United States that was split up into basically 4 sub-nations. And the premise for it was interesting. I think maybe it would have been a bit much for a more mainstream audience. I don't know, but either way, so it was, we'll say that it was not renewed. The headlines were all saying it was canceled.
Right.
But
that said, Jonathan Majors, he's good.
Oh, incredible.
Just,
I could not believe, like, as I'm watching Loki.
No, I mean, he's good in terms of like, he's going to continue having paychecks.
Oh yeah. Well,
like,
I mean,
this doesn't hurt him. I mean, and I'm sure he probably would have loved to do Lovecraft Country along with MCU stuff, but He's in the MCU now.
Yeah,
he's
a janitor
good.
in the
He's all
background
set.
in an MCU film, you're making bank.
True.
I could,
And he is going to be a central villain for at least for a little while.
but to my point about misinterpreting what your point was, I could not believe in Loki that it was the same guy. I had to rewatch. So the whole time I'm watching the ending, I'm realizing, you know what? I'm missing half of what's going on because I'm not comprehending that this is the same actor. Because his performance in Lovecraft Country, radically different, could not be more different from this character. And he nailed both performances so flawlessly and effortlessly that I'm just like, I can't process it. And had to rewatch it. Dude is good.
And in Loki, he really captured for Kang what you often see in the comics for Kang, this sometimes manic kind of thing, because Kang gets twisted around. He sometimes doesn't even know what time he's in, and so much of that has. And it depends on who's doing the writing for the particular comic that he's in. But they've really gotten to that, like, kind of that whole confusion thing of, he now ends up in this certain time or time frame or timeline. He doesn't quite, he's not quite sure what's there, or he's experiencing all these things because he is jumping around. So he gets a little manic. And I like how they really amped up that aspect of him. In Loki, I thought it like makes the character really, really interesting, like a lot of depth, especially in that last episode where there was so much exposition coming from that character telling about these things. And if he sat there in this, monotone voice, it would have just been boring as hell. But he was just like, both physically and verbally jumping all over the place. And I loved it. Loved it.
I was impressed. Completely unexpected. Yeah. I can't wait for the second season. I'm glad we're getting a second season.
Me too.
Let's see what else. You know what the fastest growing market has been over the last year? The fastest growing media market. Throw a little bit of trivia out here for you guys.
Streaming?
Nope. VR content.
My Little Pony.
VR content. That's a little more specific. VR content grew, the revenue for VR content grew by 30% in 2020, making it media's fastest growing market. So there you go. A lot of people hopped on the VR bandwagon last year. I did too.
Well, people were home. They wanted the experience stuff. So
it's, I got to say, I was, the one reason I don't do it more often is I need to get a new prescription for my glasses. And then I'm going to order prescription lenses to pop into it. And wearing it with glasses right now is not exactly the greatest, especially when my own glasses need to be updated. Otherwise, I'd be using it a lot. Like it was... I'm impressed with it. It's far more advanced than I realized. So it's going to continue to grow. Speaking of games, Netflix is coming out with their own gaming service, kind of like Apple Games Plus, I guess. And it's going to be free for subscribers. PlayStation 5 owners like Tim apparently are going to get access to... Was that too soon?
Yeah, we look alike. I have one. He doesn't. So
yeah.
That may have confused you.
Oh, yeah, but he's the one that's upset about him not having one.
Well, I'm not upset about him not having one.
I'm not upset about him not having one either. I mean, that was kind of the joke.
And I'm not upset about.
I don't have one.
Because I have one.
I am upset about you having one.
Okay.
I mean, I don't want one, except now that you have one, now I'm jealous. But then, like, if I took yours, I wouldn't use it because there's nothing I want to play on it. So, anyhow, the good news, Lou, you get 6 months of Apple TV Plus for free.
I do.
from
I didn't know
from
this.
your PlayStation 5. Now you have to be a PS Plus subscriber, like whatever the online service is.
Yeah, they got like PS Now and PS.
Yeah,
I gotta
whatever they're
switch
calling that
but
these
yeah.
days. Yeah, 6
Okay.
months of Apple TV Plus for free, and when you get it, you need to watch Mythic Quest.
You've said
I
so.
say
yeah,
so
I wanna
repeatedly
watch
and
that.
with good reason. So, Tim, when you and I catch up to Lou and we get our PS5s,
When the day comes.
yeah, I want to get the
Yeah, when they announce the PS6, the PS5 would be pretty readily available.
yeah right. I want to get the Diablo 2 remake. It's looking really good. You don't have a PS4, do you, Tim?
Nope.
Okay. All right. What else? Star Trek Prodigy came out with a teaser, and then Below Decks came out with the trailer for season 2. Either of you guys watch either one?
Have not.
Can't say that.
I wouldn't say you're missing a whole lot. The Below Deck season 2 looked good. Prodigy doesn't really feel very Star Trek-y to me. This is the CG animated one that takes place in the Delta Quadrant from the Voyager series. And it's basically a bunch of like
Okay.
teenagers find a derelict ship, like a derelict Enterprise, and start flying it around the Delta Quadrant. I don't know. Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
Like it does not look like it's supposed to be a comedy. And I'm not suggesting it is, but like the concept, I don't know how interesting it is.
Interesting.
We'll find out. And then finally, the last thing I have is Marvel Studios has announced they're going to be launching an in-house animation branch. So I guess we're going to be getting more actual, and this is allegedly for MCU style content, not for these like Disney Plus or Disney XD Spider-Man animated series things. Like this is going to be stuff that ties in with the MCU. Is that what you're hearing, Tim? Does that sound right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, this is this is coming from fully legit sources, and they basically, Marvel Studios is trying to be able to fully produce stuff, or at least mostly produce as much as they possibly can in-house, and it totally makes sense for them. This is a positive mood or move. With the What If series coming out in a couple weeks.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Which is really the MCU's first animation project, even though What If isn't necessarily canonical to the MCU, but it is still very much related to it.
I mean, it can kind of be. Some people are saying it's pseudo-canonical because, the multiverse.
Well, I mean, but by the I see your
Yes.
point there. But I was saying, by its title itself, it's not canonical because
True.
it's what if this.
So
happened. Yeah.
there
Yeah.
is a particular.
And the comic series was
No.
never a canonical
No,
thing.
that's very true. There's one specific character from the What If series that is allegedly going to make a live action appearance. I'm guessing Tim has heard of it.
I haven't.
Well, I don't know.
I'm guessing from that face he hasn't either.
Okay. I'll tell you guys offline. Everybody else, that's why you should join the Discord server we're in, and you can,
Is
discuss
this
those
the
things.
Howard the Duck rumor? Oh, okay.
No.
Because if there's anything in the MCU that
Does not need to be.
it's Howard.
I
the Duck.
agree emphatically. He's the Jackson the Rabbit
Really?
of. Yeah.
I mean, I watched Howard the Duck back in the day.
Well, yeah, because
You know,
Leah
it was-
Thompson.
It's not connected to anything else, but it is what it is. It's
Right.
not
It is
like
what it
meant
is.
to
It's
be-
way off to the side and should remain there.
Exactly. But it can stay there. It's fine all by itself.
All by itself, being the key. Yes.
So one last thing before we wrap, the TV show I could not think of before was First Wave, not Fifth Wave or
right,
Third Wave.
right. Was that?
First
No,
Wave.
that wasn't the submarine one.
No, this was alien invasion, and lead character finds Nostradamus prophecies that kind of foretell the telling of an apocalypse coming in three waves. Or in first wave was covert, and he's trying to uncover the aliens doing this. It was Sebastian. What the hell was his name? Cast. Where is it?
Nostradamus should have communicated a little bit more clearly then, because if he predicted the stuff and then it happened and we found out after, or at least the first phase of it, after it happened that he had predicted it, then he did a really crappy job. I mean, the only point in predicting something is to get the information out in advance. So he kind of failed.
He predicted it, back in 1700s.
But if nobody knew what he was talking about, then what good is it? Dude sucked.
He was cryptic.
Yeah.
He wanted to spoil it for you.
Well, that is the point of, if you're going to make a prediction, it is literally by definition a spoiler.
A spoiler. But it was a good series. It ran for 3 seasons. I wouldn't mind seeing a reboot of that. That'd be kind of cool. But it was Sebastian Spence, Rob LaBelle, and Tracy Lords, actually. It was her first real acting job.
Okay. All right, I'd be down for that, but I got to say I'm not upset about a 4400 remake.
No, I'm interested to see that because I enjoyed the first series.
All right, well, that's going to do it for this episode of Random Chatter. I hope that catches people up on a lot of things that it's been a couple of weeks since we've really run down the list of things. I know there are more trailers that are expected to be released, hopefully over the next week or so, and maybe there'll be some more news coming out of Comic-Con. Maybe some people will have sifted through the various videos and panels and have scraped out the interesting parts for the rest of us, because I ain't going to do it. So, but tune in Tuesday night, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. We are going to be back with Movie Chatter. I don't know if we're covering Gunpowder Milkshake or not. We need to get with Robin and see what she wants to cover with that.
Yep.
And then, I don't know, there's some good movies coming up. We've got G.I. Joe Snake Eyes just came out. We've got Jungle Cruise coming up. A couple of other big releases, I think, over the next few weeks. So I don't know if we're going to have access to them, given theater status and what's coming to streaming and what's not. But we'll see. We'll try to cover some pretty recent things for people. But 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, Tuesday night. And then otherwise, we will be back next Sunday night with more Random Chatter and Force Chatter. So until then, take care, everybody.